hello, our beautiful and amazing viewers and listeners. I hope you're having a lovely day. This is your girl, Halima Ngobi, your host for today. And today we're going to be talking about something amazing. It is the legal framework of marriages. We think in Uganda today, marriage is beyond a romantic union. We think marriage goes down to things like contracts and legal frameworks. However, the public is not really informed about this. That is why today I have a panel that is going to be giving us insights on what marriages look like in the legal world, what marriages are recognized in the legal framework. And I am excited to introduce our beautiful panelists, Miss Dorcas Baiga, who is a lawyer by profession working with Carl Advocacy. Miss Dorcas, you're most welcome to the show.
Thank you, Halima.
Okay. Today, again, we have our amazing senior journalist from UBC, Mr. Kent Chaza. It is always an honor to have you. Chaze.
I could sue you since we have a lawyer in the house.
My bad. My apologies. But yes, we have Mr. Kent Chaze, a senior journalist from UBC. We always are excited to have you on the show, and you're most welcome.
Who is not excited being on the show?
We all are.
Definitely excited.
We all are, yeah. We are going to be unpacking something about the legal framework and the marriage contracts in the country today. I'll begin with our land friend, Madam Dorcas. What types of marriages do we have today, and how are they recognized legally in the country?
Okay, thanks, Halima. So to start off, before I inform the public what types of marriages, I think it's crucial to understand what is a marriage.
Yeah,
okay.
Very true.
So a marriage is a union between a man and a woman. I think that is key, given, the current trend we are headed into. And if also look at our constitution and the Penal Code Act, so they refer to it as, a union between a man and a woman. And if you contract otherwise with the same sex, it would be an offense. Okay, so I thought it would quite be important to put that across. Right. Then under the law, court, our Ugandan laws recognize the church marriage. Okay. So you've seen people who have gone to churches, different churches, depending on your denomination. It could be the Anglican Church, it could be the Catholic Church, to be wedded. So that is a church marriage, and it's recognized under the law. You also have a civil marriage. Now, civil marriage is where you go before the Registrar of Marriages. Previously, that was conducted by Uganda Registration Services Bureau, URSB, but now it has been transferred following the new law, the Registration of Persons and Deaths Act, right? Yeah. So you go before the registrar for the civil marriages. Then we have what we call the Islamic or Hindu marriages. Those are also provided for under their own law. I think it is the Marriage and Divorce of the Mohammedan Act. Yeah, so those, and then there's also the customary marriage. Now, for that customary marriage, you are married according to the rights of your custom. So if you're from the Buganda region, you'll be married, like the introduction we normally have, Kwanjula. So that is recognized as a marriage, and it is potentially polygamous.
Okay. Yeah. Thank you very much. That is very interesting. You'll be surprised. I am a Muslim who didn't know that we have the Muhammad Act.
It's the marriage
like
and Islamic
but
case.
I didn't know we have an act in that regard. Thank you very much. So I'll come to you, Kent. We have cases where we have traditional marriages, just like she cited. Are they valid in this case? If someone got married traditionally, does that recognize legally?
Definitely. The legal experts spoke about it, and as per the country Uganda, the country that we are speaking from right now, the types that are recognized in that capacity have that as one of them, the traditional marriages. Interestingly, by the way, for those that have been attending, or perhaps one that have been involved in you do part away with a marriage certificate, a traditional marriage certificate, endorsed by, if you're in Uganda, the Kingdom of Buganda, or if you're marrying from maybe, let's say, from whichever part it is, the kingdom of the people of that particular area. So, yes, indeed, it is recognized. Traditional marriages are recognized, cultural marriages are recognized, and they fall within the category of marriages that stand legal in as far as the laws of Uganda.
Okay, thank you very much. The reason as to why I actually asked that, despite the introduction that we got, is that today, most of the time when people are having divorces, they only consider civil marriages. They do not consider traditional marriages. Why is that?
I think it's a notion. Maybe they don't know. You know, it's just about ignorance.
Okay.
So, because the customary marriage is recognized, you're getting married according to the customs of your tribe or your region. Even when you're divorcing, you will divorce according to the customs of your tradition. Okay. So, if in your tradition, for it to be amount to a valid divorce, they say, okay, fine, we brought cows, we brought goats, we brought tomatoes, onions, we want them back, if that is their custom, and you want a divorce. So they will say, okay, fine, can you bring back the things that we gave you at the time of the introduction?
Okay.
Yeah.
I love the part where you spoke about validity of divorce. They are particular prerequisites that validate a divorce.
Yes.
And a marriage for this case.
Yes.
Some enlightenment, please.
So let's start with the customary marriage again. According to your custom. So what does it amount to, a valid divorce according to your custom? Do I have to return the things back? If I return the things back, if let's say my husband I'm married. So if my husband returns the things he brought at the introduction, that will be considered divorced. And even the parents recognize that, okay, our children are no longer married. That will be certified as a valid divorce under the custom. I think the key thing you need to understand is what is the custom of that particular area. Okay. Yeah. And then when we come to church, and the civil marriage, so there are grounds for divorce. So if you want to find out what are the grounds for divorce, now we go into what we call the Divorce Act, right? Has there been adultery, cruelty, desertion for 2 years, so the court will consider to another religion, absolutely. So those will, the courts will, look at those to the grounds to ascertain, okay, fine, we can give the divorce. And please note that once the court gives you the divorce, there are two types. So they first give you what we call the decree nisi, and they give you 6 months within which to resolve any issues. Negotiate. Okay. And you shouldn't
more of a second chance.
Sort of think through.
Actually, it is a second chance.
You need to think through. Because you need to find out, are you certain that you actually want to divorce? So after this 6 month period, and please note, you're not supposed to have relations with this person. By relations, I mean sexual relations within those 6 months. Because if you're going back, you've separated. Now, within those 6 months from the decree nisi until the decree absolute, now where a court gives you the divorce order. Once you have now the divorce order issued by the court, then that you have been legally divorced and you are free to marry another person because now you're not married.
But
okay.
But Council, maybe just a little bit. Does it not call for, making of declarations like deed polls and the likes in the papers, in the Gazette? So
that's the whole process. So if you're going to go through the whole process, you do a petition. Let's say I want to divorce you. Yeah. I write a petition. There's someone new. We go before the court. I give my reasons for divorce. You rebut. In other words, you say, okay, fine. No, I don't agree to that. You make a I'm looking for that simple word. You make a response to that. Once court has decided that, okay, fine, given all these, of course, the advertisements or the gazettement or whatever notification that should be made. Yeah. Because even in divorce, you're looking at things like what custody of the children, maintenance, and all those things. Yeah.
Okay. I does that cater for all marriages or specifically the civil marriages?
Civil and church.
Civil and
Civil
church.
and
So that's
church.
why it goes back to what type of marriage have you procured. Okay? If you've procured a church or civil marriage, when you're going to divorce, you go through the court system.
Okay, so I will talk for the traditional marriages because I think they are common. Yeah, they are like the most common.
Yeah.
So if someone wants to divorce but they only had a traditional marriage, do they still go to court?
They don't have to go to court. Again, it goes back to your customs.
Customs.
What do your
okay.
customs state when you want to divorce?
Okay, thank you very much. I have something that I would want to understand. Normally, what happens is that during these divorce cases, you find that they are people that have not been registered. Like, you have the marriage certificate, but for some reason, you're not in the system, and that usually stalls the divorce system. And Mr. Kent, what do you have to say about that?
You're very right. You've actually pinpointed a thing or two that I was thinking about as our legal sister was making her bit of submission at the start. It so happens that if you're married, let's say in church, you're married in church, you've been given I was about to say death certificate, a marriage certificate. It is not a marriage, not a recognized marriage, not until it is registered.
Okay.
The registrar, or in this case, the changes that have been made, the particular registration that upholds and takes receipt of your marriage, The same applies to customary, by the way. I think customary is normally 6 months. 6 months. They are given 6 months to register. So even when we are joined in matrimony, but without registering our joinery, we are not registered. Or rather, we are not recognized. So a time comes, we want to separate. But guess what? In the books, we don't exist. Is that going to be a simple thing? Definitely the stall that you highlighted falls in. Because now we need to trace back. Were these people really registered? How comes they say they were married? They have a church certificate. They have maybe an Islamic certificate, a mosque certificate. But in the books of government, we see them nowhere. So surely the stall will fall in.
Okay.
And just to add on, so that's why it's quite important, and it's incumbent upon the celebrants of these marriages, like the church or the civil or even the customary. He mentioned that in the Buganda culture, they will give you that certificate. So it's incumbent upon you. And actually, NERA right now is driving that, especially for the customary marriage, because there are quite many. So, okay, fine, go before the sub-county chief or the town clerk, do your registration of the marriage, and then file them. So it's incumbent upon all the celebrants of this marriage to actually file those, the marriage returns with NERA.
Oh.
Yes.
Okay, interesting. That is something I think our viewers and listeners have actually heard about that. Moving on, let's talk about cohabiting. Because where we're talking about union of two people and obviously families coming about, we cannot fail to talk about cohabiting. Today we are having people that live for 5 years plus, and it is cohabiting. They have families, but they are not married whatsoever. Are there laws in the country that protect these people in the event that they separate or something happens?
So again, let's go to the basics. What is cohabitation? So cohabitation is where you're staying with your partner, a wife, a man and a woman, without procuring a legally recognized marriage. Back to the issue of our marriages, the church, the civil, the Islamic, the Hindu, and the customary. Okay? So here you're just staying with this person for an extended period. It could be 2 years plus. Others have been cohabiting for 35 years.
Thank you.
So to directly answer your question, there is no law that recognizes cohabitation. And that is why the question is, if someone say you are married, they will ask you, what form of marriage did you procure that is recognized by the law? So cohabitation is not recognized by the law. You're just staying with a person.
Do I hear a however?
Maybe to come in. Yes, the however. Now from my side. Recently, Parliament, spearheaded by Sarah Opendi, have been looking into that. It's the reason for which there was even a suggestion that people that have lived together for 6 months, cohabited for 6 months, should actually be declared marriage. or rather married. Yes.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, because these are the things they are trying to look into, and perhaps much as there is no law as per now, there is something in the pipeline. Whether or not that will take effect is the question mark we leave to the viewer, the listener, as we wait.
And the legal systems, the land people. On that point, would you support that?
Support cohabiting, or rather declaration of cohabitants, 6-month-old cohabitants. I think the gist of this has actually been missed, because we are all, as a nation, looking at when people are together for 6 months, get declared. No, the whole aspect was people are living together. Now, after they've lived together, let's place into motion the legalities of those people being recognized as married. So people think that I'll simply wake up today, stay with you for 6 months, and then at the end of the 6th month, married. No, that's not the way. It's
I was going to mention campus.
So I don't support how we understand it, but I support the legal approach and angle through which it's being geared forth.
Okay, you do not support the 6 months, but
I don't support the narrative of how public has received it in a lay understanding.
Okay.
But I actually support the reason for which the motion is being pushed.
Okay, thank you very much. On that point, by the way, I happen to have witnessed a scenario where I think these people did not have anything to do with customary or civil marriage. Then they had children of our age, actually. Unfortunately, one of the partners passed on.
Oh.
Yes.
Sorry.
So, and somehow the law did not accept that the lady in this case, the partner that was still alive, gets compensation or something. Do we think that is fair? Coming back to what the legal system is planning to,
Okay, so legally speaking, that's what the law is. This is called, but it's the law. Okay, now,
unfortunately,
when we speak from the moral perspective and the humanity perspective, it's not fair. I mean, I've been with you, and there was a case actually in court. I think this lady had cohabited with a gentleman for 35 years, actually. They had got children, they have grandchildren, and the gentleman passed on, right? So, and court was, because she kept on saying, I don't want to say averred. So she kept on saying, she stated that I am married. This is my husband. Okay? I am entitled to this property. And court is like, okay, fine. Whereas you have been with this gentleman for 35 years, you are actually not married by the laws of Uganda.
Yeah.
You are cohabiting. Okay? So it's not fair, but it's what it is. So that's why I think to that, I think it's the marriage bill of 2024, they're trying to find a way, of solving for such scenarios, because that is the reality. Okay? And if you look at that marriage bill, they've sort of like expounded. They've not fully addressed the cohabitation bit of it. Yeah? They've still looked at, maybe expounded some of the types of marriages that would be recognized. Because truthfully, in cohabitation, you'll have children, you'll get property, and the law would not recognize it as matrimonial property, because matrimonial property is property that you have obtained when you are married, legally married. So to directly answer your question, it's not fair.
Although literally, when it comes to grammar, two people coming together, or any two things joined, that's marrying, putting together.
Oh, okay.
So, I mean, the law is the law, like she says, and it's unfortunate that in aspects where perhaps the reality is the reality, the law has to be the law. And that's why even as well, if I defended myself, after an attack from maybe a wanting murderer, in my defense, I killed the murderer. It depends on my extent of force used on the murderer. Chances are I would be taken in for murder. Not even just aggravated murder or manslaughter. The law.
Okay, interesting. On behalf of my beautiful and amazing listeners, we want to seek clarity on certain things, because this topic is very important, by the way, because majority do not have information about it. There are cases I have, to my knowledge, we are getting clarity. To my knowledge, when you have stayed together for long, the court considers things like, do you have children together? Does the family of the girl or the boy know you? Is that how it works? Or again, that is us not knowing what the law exactly says.
Again, it is the law, unfortunately.
Interesting.
So one of the I think this conversation of cohabitation has been going on for quite some time. Okay, and like I said, there are children in the picture. There's property that you have, obtained with your partner.
True.
And what we would call maybe matrimonial property or family land where you drive your sustenance. So there are some cases whereby the court, in terms of property and all that, the court will sort of and they're not going to use what we call the restrictive interpretation of the law.
Okay.
Right? So they will try to modify to mitigate any absurdities, in other words, and sort of like unfairness, quote in quotes, right? Now, in such scenarios, whereas the court will say, okay, fine, you're not legally married to this person, right? You have children. Let's say you're going to go through a divorce. Yeah, you have children, but if you look at the Children's Act, the welfare of the children is paramount. It supersedes everything. We do not care about your interest. You guys have your own issues, but now there are children in the picture. So there is some property that we think will be beneficial to the children. So the court will not apply a strict interpretation of the law when it comes to property and maintenance of children. Now, under property, if it is a family home, this is where you stay, your children stay, court will also put that into consideration. So that maybe the wife or the husband who is surviving, post the demise of the partner, will be able to ensure that the children are safe in that home, or that home is not given to maybe relatives who want to come and take it. So courts are also humane, and they will look at certain circumstances, but they will not, veer so much away from the law.
Okay.
I don't know if that answers your question.
Yeah, sure. It does. I love that part of the court is also humane, but when it comes to children, only.
They also look at the property, but it also depends on the circumstance of the case. So they will look at it case by case basis. So it's not going to be a one size fits all.
Okay. Yeah, thank you very much. You spoke about children, and obviously that drives us to rights and responsibilities of children. Mr. Kent, what do you think are the sole responsibilities for each spouse in regard to children?
I'm loving the fact that for this particular day, the people I've dealt with since morning have not been as preempting as you are. You're actually kind of pinching and tickling me where it actually
thank
matters.
you. I'll take that as a compliment.
Definitely. You deserve lots of compliments, Halima. I was at Buganda Road recently, about 2 or 3 weeks ago, and there was this girl that came around. She was having tattoos. She was in a drunken stupor. She was all disorganized, and the people that were talking to her failed, so they directed her to me because they knew I have a media foundation. So I spoke to her and asked, what's up, what's wrong? I was like, okay, your man beats you? Said, yes. Are you married? We cohabit. I told her, you know what? Let's walk together to police. There is a family division. We can get guidance accordingly. So I realized they had a child. They are not married. They had a child. The police told them one thing, that no matter how and what they were going through, the custody of the child was very vital. And because the lady was not in the right state, yet deserved person to have the custody of the child during these fights, the child was taken to the nearest close of kin, that is, rather kin person, Jaja to the child on the side of the lady. Responsibilities. Every responsibility that you deem necessary unto you, leave alone aspects of having conjugal rights and things that we seem to look at as adult. Everything else that you need to avail to a child. Education, clothing, feeding, protection, and lots more, as we may think about them. Interestingly, a colleague in this place lost a loved one. I was actually doing a morning show. And 1 hour to the end of the morning show, I received a phone call from my superior who told me, so-and-so's woman has died. Wow, I was broken. these people were not married officially. When we left this place, we stretched to the mortuary, the morgue, Mulago, and we found a situation. This is a person who was known by a few of the sisters, but the rest of the people did not know. So the family members were saying, Asemuwala wafe, because they don't know the person and they have grief. Whilst the others were saying, no, Twade Tumumanyi, he's the boyfriend. What am I saying? I think it's high time we resolved by introducing ourselves to the families of the people we love, so that for whatever situation, even when the person is late coming home, or maybe the person has stayed out for long and made a phone call, I am at so and so's, they know, hey, by the way, he's our son, Wade Tanaba Kuja. He's yet to come for the real thing. It does help a lot. So in that case, I really felt it was a big problem, and that's why I've taken this opportunity through you, Halima, to actually pass it on. But basing on the question you placed my way, every right that you feel, or rather every aspect of a basic need that you feel is due your way, from feeding, clothing, education, protection, health, happiness, is right for you to pass on to a young one, to a little one, to a child. And as well, protection from the adults. Because normally we prey on these young ones. Protection of that young child from an adult, or maybe from bullying, from this kind of oppression or suppression, is one thing you should do. Thank you very much. Molestation and abuse and all that is one right we should be passing on for the rights of the young ones.
Okay, thank you very much. I'm going to get back to you on the point of gender and vis-a-vis the responses, or rather responsibilities of the spouses. I'll get back to you. But on what he said, I wanted to engage you on the fact that someone unfortunately passes on and the other family claims, because we do not know, we did not know you, maybe you are to blame for the death of our daughter or son. Do you think it is right that the other partner, because chances are they may even come up with a lawsuit, right? In the event that it happens, what does the law say about that?
So when a person dies, and that's why you hear that whether the person has died via an accident or they were in hospital and actually died, they still do a post-mortem. Because they are grieving. They've lost their son. Unfortunately, they do not know you. Okay? So when you're in pain, you tend to say certain things that are not true, but you're just in pain, right? So maybe after some time, they can go back and even like, oh, actually, no, we were maybe wrong. But to your point, so if they go ahead and institute a suit against this person, he who alleges must prove. So the post-mortem itself will show us what was the cause of death of this person.
Okay.
So you'd look at that in case they intend to, maybe they choose to sue you for the death of their child.
Okay, thank you very much. Back to you, Kent. By the way, you will notice I am very passionate about human empowerment, but women empowerment, I am a good one. So
I hope you're not feminist. Because sometimes
I may not recognize as one.
is lost in the aspect of human
depending
empowerment.
on how you embrace or appreciate feminism. I may not recognize as one, but I am very down with women empowerment. So for that case, we'll talk gender
responsibilities.
We'll talk gender balance. We'll talk about gender equality in marriages. You spoke about responsibilities. I think you can best help us understand that concept.
I have a friend, Mr. Michael Balaba. I wish he was around to actually, give me the kind of muscle I need on this one. But anyway.
Special shout out.
Never mind.
Mr.
I'm sure
Balaba.
one time he will be watching this or listening to us. Society has come out to describe so many things that should be done. As we grew up, we often were told that the world we were living in was turning into a global village. As we speak, it's already that village that we were told about. Now, that village we were talking about has actually defined how society should be. Going the stretch of the masculine gender being the provision, the protection to the children, whilst the feminine gender has generally been taken on as the upholder of the family, basically the upbringing of these children, and basically aspects of nurturing. I remember there's a time I appeared on this show, and we did something of that kind, trying to understand what the role of the man is, the role of the woman is. I wouldn't go by what society has defined, because I'm a liberal. I'm so much of a person of reality. I don't go by ideals. Say, Jui, when you reach 20, you have to have money. 30, you have to know. People have reached 20, they don't have money.
Right.
30, they've not achieved. Those are ideals, ideologies.
Cool.
So from my aspect of a realist, as I am, I want to believe I can have all responsibilities attached to me. When my little girl was growing, Christiana, one time she'll be watching this, I used to do the pamper changes, the bathing, the feeding, etc. And we bonded well. We are buddies. If I may show you one of the letters she's written to me in a few days from now, or rather before, while at school, you'll actually tell there's a bond.
That's
Some men
beautiful.
will tell you, I cannot change a pamper. I cannot do the washing of this girl, and things of the sort. And why? Society has brought in something. That in fact, if someone found a man carrying a baby girl, the ladies will be quick to say, Racho mwado musajja, bwa musobi yako. You know, there is that kind of thing, that there are things meant for women,
very
things meant
unfortunate.
for men. But I, for one, believe that I could as well be a stay-home dad. You know, I cook for my family because I'm a good chef. I take care of their, chores and the likes, basically maybe laundry and the likes. So it depends on a person and how a person perceives something. Otherwise, if we go by mchala ya fumbe mere, then msaja ya gabule nyama, enkoko no. In my view, that doesn't apply. It shouldn't apply, and I don't implement such.
If I may supplement on,
Okay.
and he raises a valid point. So even if I'm looking at it from the law, the Children Act, it does not differentiate that a man should do this, a woman should do this.
Thank
They
you
say
very
a parent. If parents are not around, guardians.
Give me 5.
Until
Interesting. Do I also get up?
You-
Okay, it's okay.
yeah.
We
So
proceed.
there is no that differentiation. It's just again the societal construct. Let's flip it a little bit. Okay. Let's say you have your husband or your partner. Let me use partner for the benefit of everyone. Your partner
Halima specifically.
has. Okay, fine.
She has a partner.
A partner. Okay, fine.
We are yet to sit in those married meetings.
Interesting.
That's new information. Anywho, so you have your partner. Your partner has been working.
Yeah.
He's been earning a certain sum of money. He's been paying rent, paying fees, giving you money for your hair. And then something goes wrong, right?
Yeah.
And he loses his job.
Hi.
Or he gets incapacitated. Does it mean you, as the other partner or the spouse in this instance, you do not step up? And you keep on saying, no, it's the man who is supposed to do A, B, C, D.
Oh.
You get it? So it's just the societal construct. And again, this partnership, it's not you're supposed to do this, you're supposed to do this. It's for the benefit of the family,
Everyone.
right? Monkey see, monkey do. So if you do that when you have your children, even the boy child or the girl child will grow up thinking, even if daddy is sick, so meaning even if my mom is sick, daddy cannot do ABCD because they've seen, they learn by observation. Yeah.
Okay, that is very interesting. I am loving the direction this is taking. Obviously, when you speak about losing a job, we are going to now come down to things like divorce, infidelity, and everything. But that is something we are going to tackle in the next half. For now, we'll be having a break. To our beautiful viewers, stay tuned. We'll be right back.